Success Mantra is a program which features people, successful individuals from various walks of life. They are less known heroes who believe in their dreams and have conviction to live their full potential. Idols, icons, innovators who care to live every moment on their own terms.
Wonderful. Awesome. So, success in all the various things that you have done. So, what does success really mean to you?
Okay, so well, that's a very nice question, Sonali. And coming to think of it, what success means to me, uh, success means to me a reward of a long journey of hard work, sincerity, commitment, and perseverance. Success to me means the rising of a powerful soul to endure and tolerate adversities, tolerate failures, tolerate criticism. Success to me means awakening of the body and the soul to reach to higher challenges and reaching out high, remembering that winning isn't everything, but it's just that wanting to win is. So, falling down is important, and rising above that is what is more important. So, I think success means that to me. And the only way I have another word for success is probably karma. So, I believe that the other synonym for success should be only karma, sincere karma, committed karma, positive karma, and God helps those who help themselves.
Wow, success, the other word is karma. So, this is a new perspective and definitely very well said because without karma, success is not possible. So, it always precedes whatever accolades that you get from people in terms of your journey. Papri, success, of course, is karma, and it's something that you have been mastering in every field. So, what are the traits you spoke a lot about attitudes and behaviors and these aspects of life? So, what in your mind are the traits and behaviors which has really helped you achieve every goal and really strive for it, not letting criticism bog you down, you know, being a winner every single day just by showing up? Because end of the day, what happens is somebody criticizes and the entire plan fizzles out, right? That's what happens to a lot of people. So how do you manage it? What are the traits, what are the behaviors which has really helped you, achieve that?
Okay, so yeah, I mean, you have wonderful questions to ask, and that really brings in a lot of introspection, Sonali. So I see how you are a great author, actually. Okay, so so I think I often operate on Newton's laws.
Okay.
Okay, so let me put it this way. I believe you know the laws of physics.
Yeah.
They say work is equal to force into displacement.
Mhm.
Okay,
Mhm.
so sometimes we believe that we have put in a lot of force. Okay,
Mhm. Right.
so most of us put in a lot of force in all the work that in all that we have to do,
Mhm.
but we do not realize that if displacement isn't much, then the work done becomes zero, because work is equal to force into displacement. So I put my eyes on displacement and not on the force. So if I'm putting a large amount of force also, or large amount, let me specify, by force I mean energy. So I'm putting a large amount of hard work, large amount of energy, burning midnight oil. Oh my God, I'm working really hard. But at
Mhm.
the same time, at every step while I pass through the stages of this project that I'm working on, I need to look at the displacement, which means, am I making any there is has been any change, any result with the amount of force that I'm putting? Or the end of the day, if work is equal to force into displacement, I put a lot of force. If displacement is zero, then the work done becomes zero. So
True.
I keep my eye on displacement, which is achievement, which is minute indications of the fact, am I moving in the right direction? If I am not moving in the right direction, and if displacement is very, very trivial, I use that as a feedback loop and make my own corrections. So it's like in electronics we have a transistor amplifier circuit. So there is a small base current that needs to go to the transistor, and then the transistor gets into the amplification zone. If that current is not adequate enough or not appropriate, the control loop does not work properly, there's no amplification. So I believe in keeping my eyes on the control loop, on the feedback mechanism. I give myself feedback every day. I tell myself every day what I have not done correctly. I take feedback from environment. I take feedback from people who are around me, even without they realizing that I'm taking feedback from them. So that is the second thing I do, taking feedback. The third important, and then of course, as I said, a negative feedback does not deter me at all. A negative feedback propels me forward. It is like, again, let's say Newton's law again. Every action has an equal and opposite reaction.
Yeah.
So if you are pulling me backwards, you are only pulling me backwards to propel myself forward further, which means you pulled me back and I am all the more ready to give that high jump again.
Oh my
So
God.
you take me backwards, and wonderful, thank you very much, because my trajectory has improved all the more. So that is another, I think, thing which I look at. And the other important thing is agility and resilience. I am a very, very agile person. I believe change is the name of the game. So if I am not willing to change myself, if I do not have the resilience to understand that while changing, there'll be a lot of pain involved in the change, but I need to do that, then I wouldn't succeed. So I use that small bit of resilience, build up that resilience within me to bring about some amount of agility. That's another thing. Last but not the least, something which I've learned from another of my bosses. I actually learn, every day is a learning, as I said.
Absolutely.
So there was one fine day, I was a little low because I hadn't got, probably enough appreciation for a wonderful job that I did. And she said, Papri, are you waiting for somebody to pat you on the back? Don't bother. Pat yourself on the back and go ahead. Give yourself a day out. Enjoy yourself. Celebrate your life. Celebrate the fact that you did the best that you could. It may not have been perfect. You may have, all the people may not have been happy. You may have made your mistakes, and you have the goodness in you to say that, yes, I made a mistake. Now just pat yourself on the back, enjoy yourself. I was very bad in that. And this lady transformed my life, and I've learned to pat myself on the back. So I think that little bit of patting yourself on the back is required, because if you wait for somebody else to do that for you, God bless you. Very few people would come and do that for us. So I think that is one thing, that I do.
Wow, fantastic. So I see there are innumerable traits which are what I liked the best was the displacement and the feedback that you give yourself every single day. Because it's sometimes very difficult to, face yourself in the mirror and say that, hey, you know what, I've put in efforts, but there has been no displacement. So time to watch out that, the strategy is really not working, right? So that's fantastic. Like what is this other thing that I wanted to ask you is amongst all these various achievements, which has been the topmost, which when you look back and cherish and celebrate your life, you say that this is it. This is the one which really makes me feel life is worth living.
Mm-hmm. Now that's a good one. Let me not look at my professional achievements because those are the achievements which I think every other person probably has. There'll be many people out there who are having much more academic and professional achievements, more than me, and God bless them for that. I think my achievement, I would say, is I started my life as a pessimist. There was one point of time where people felt that I was somebody who couldn't speak up much. I was an introvert. I was not very good in public speaking as well. And it's yeah my
Hard
everybody
to
feels
believe.
amazed about the fact,
Yeah.
because if you give me a mic, I don't stop these days. So so I think my biggest achievement lies in my transformation. My achievement lies in getting transformed from a person who people believed was an academic topper, but a person who could not stand out amidst a large group of people with her foot on the ground and defend herself or talk about things and not compromise on her values and principles, etc. People felt in my early years of life that I was somebody whom they could take for a ride. And my transformation from there to a person who can put her foot down and stand for my values, for my systems, for my processes, for my beliefs is my transformation. Another important thing which I feel I have been trying to achieve, I don't know if I have achieved, and I don't know if I will, is my role as a mother. So I think the most beautiful moment of my life still is, and the most happy moment of my life still is 17 June 1997, when my daughter was born and the small baby was put in my arms. And the smile that that little girl gave, looking at me, staring at me, I think was the most beautiful moment of my life. No laurels, no accolades, no certifications, no designations, and no degrees have ever been able to map onto that smile that that small little infant gave. And every time I do something that makes my daughter smile and say, "Hey, mommy, I'm proud of you. Mommy, I'm so happy that you are my mom." And every time she sends me something, I mean, she's in the US for the last 5 years. And every time she sends me something which says that she sent me a poster recently which says that, "Hey, mom, you taught me everything, but you didn't teach me how to live without you."
Mm,
So I think
beautiful.
you would appreciate it being a mother
Yeah,
yourself.
yeah,
I think
absolutely.
my achievement would lie ahead in life if I am of value to my daughter throughout her journey of life. And if I'm able to wind up my life and tell myself, I lived my life as a good human being, I tried to do my best in whatever I wanted to do in my relationships with people, with friends, with colleagues, and with all the other mortals that God has sent me here to interact with.
Wow. Okay. That's like tremendous. And I think every woman, for that matter, being mother is one of the most humbling experiences that you can have in life, right? So it really kind of gives you satisfaction every single day. Yeah. And of course, this transition that you said from being a pessimist to becoming an optimist, and also it's hard to believe that, like you were ever stage shy, because, seeing the person that you are today, one cannot corroborate that personality at all. Yeah. So tremendous journey, Papri. And who were the role models that you had who really inspired you to drive yourself into these various lanes with so much of conviction?
Okay, so being in academia for the last 5 years, this is a question we ask. I interview a lot of aspirants who want to join MBA courses. So I take a lot of interviews of people, MBA aspirants. Okay,
Mhm.
and I also do a lot of counseling for their placements and things like that for my mentees. And
Mhm.
this is a question which we usually ask: Who is your role model?
Mhm.
Okay.
Wow.
And you get a plethora of answers,
Mhm.
starting from Mahatma Gandhi to right from God knows who.
Hmm.
I mean, I would really, to
Yeah.
Mukesh Ambani, to who not, etc.
Right.
And I end up my story telling them I do not have a role model.
Mm.
That's because I have multiple role models.
True.
Because I believe that everybody is a role model in different facets of life.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
when I want to excel in certain areas or certain relationships or certain inherent qualities within my own self to bring about myself into a better human being, then I would take somebody else as a role model. When I want to be a professional in certain particular domain, somebody else is a role model. I'm a very good businesswoman. Okay, it's I'm proud about it. My focus on the bottom line, on the ROI for customers and myself is tremendous, and I have always brought about a lot amount of business transformation for myself and the organizations I worked for. Again, my role model there would be somebody else. My role model could also be somebody who's walking down the road. My role model could be anybody around the poverty line. My role model could be also the person who doesn't have a roof on top of his head and is still struggling every day to live life. My role model could be that person who has lost his hands and legs in an accident, but is still striving to lead a good life and still do a lot of academics, a lot of painting. You see all these people. So for me, I think it's a quite a thing actually. I look around myself every other day and seek role models in different areas of competence and behavioral attributes, and introspect this on different circumstances. And then I imbibe or try to imbibe only those characteristics which I believe is good for me, or I have gaps in. The ones where I feel that this should be ignored, I just ignore, because that is not required. So if a person, we are all combinations of various energy, right? So we
Right.
have, all of us have our demons to kill. All of us have various
Right.
strengths and weaknesses. So I search for that strength within others, imbibe on that and delete their weakness. And over the years, this has helped me. This is one of the reasons why I am able to transition into many roles, because I imbibe that as I go in life. So no role model and many role models.
Wonderful. Wonderful. So, was it a conscious kind of an effort or a decision that you made in life? Or was it some kind of a trigger in your childhood? Because, this is something, if achieved in life, that, like when you look at a person, delete all their negatives and imbibe only their positives and keep heightening that, right? If there is something positive that I could take away from an interaction, that's what I should be focused on. So when did this happen for you? Was it in
Okay.
school? Was it in college? I'm just curious because this
Yeah,
is
yeah,
a
yeah.
very important
I
trait
get,
for people to have. Yeah.
I understand what you're getting at. So, there have been many instances in my life, where there have been instances which have been very stressful to me and my close family, maybe my husband and my child, where there have been life risks, there have been health risks, there have been a lot of stress, there have been a lot of incidents, and in each of those moments, let me say in the last 2 decades, I have realized that there have been times where where I or we have been totally alone. So with all the glamour and all the flamboyance around, I have realized in those moments where you are in a testing situation, often and more often than you really want to be, you are actually alone, because you fight your own battles at that point of time. And many times I have seen that friends remain as fair weather friends. There are relatives who come and go, and they aren't what they used to be in other times, and they are different when I actually needed them the most. Those incidents in life have been triggers for me. I have realized that instead of trying to find out, those incidents often filled me with negativity. They filled me with the fact, with a lot of distrust in the world around me. The distrust in the world that did God make the world the way it looks now? Are we these kind of human beings with all the education and all the skills and all the knowledge and all the things that we talk about, sitting on in big positions? Is that what we have finally come down to? We don't have the time to care for each other. We don't have the time to come and help each other out when we really need each other the most, mentally, physically, and otherwise. I think those have been turning points in my life. I have decided in those moments, I'm not going to be that person. I'm going to remove all this negativity within me. try to remove that around me, and live my life by only extra, instead of criticizing the people who probably behave that way. Let me find out what is good about them. Let me just take that part. Thank God for making me meet that person so that I was able to take that good part of that person, forgive that person for the bad part, and move ahead and see, if I am not perfect, how can I expect another person to be perfect? So let me try to slowly build those small blocks of things within me to increase that little bit of perfection that I always yearn for. I have not been very successful actually in doing that myself. I still fall prey to a lot of emotional turbulence. And it is this trust, the fact that there is positivity that will radiate if I think positive, that therefore keeps me going. As I said before, I was born a pessimist and I'm a transformed optimist. And these incidents in life have actually helped me to do that.
Wow.
I'm surprised at myself, actually. I'm really surprised. I pat myself on the back because today, if a problem comes walking, unless it's a really unsolvable thing, I just try to find out where is the silver lining here. I say my prayers that night and ask God, where is the silver lining in this issue that has come? And trust me, the next day morning, I do find a silver lining. So somewhere down the line, maybe the Lord comes in the middle of the night in my dreams and wakes me up the next day morning with that little bit of silver lining. So I hold on to that little bit of hope and walk the tunnel, thinking that there is light at the end of it. Because I truly believe that opportunities will not happen. We make opportunities
We
happen.
make up.
So we have to give it a, we have
Yes.
to give it an effort. We might fail, we might fall. There are problems which are unsolvable. They are going to come. We are in a mortal life. We are here to come, we are here to go. But
Right.
while we are here, we need to do our best.
True. I think what you said, that, in times of trouble, in times of especially what has been happening across the world during this COVID, etc. Um, it's really important to have a perspective that you just spoke about, because when you turn negative, then it's a downward spiral. Yeah. So it can only take you down, whereas if you just resolve and say that nothing can take me down, I'm only going to focus on the good. Like, where energy goes, where your focus goes, energy flows, right? So if that is something that we can achieve as human beings, each one of us can definitely add more value to a lot of people. Very well said.
There was the small poster
Yeah.
which my very favorite maternal uncle gave me when I was very small, and I had hung it in my room, and it faded away beyond a point of time. But the thought remained with me. It was a word by Swami Vivekananda which says, "Strength is life, and weakness is death."
True. True.
So we have to build our strength within. We have to build our strength with our bonding with everybody, and we have to strive towards eradicating the negativity that is slowly engulfing the world.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think your journey towards your next role has already started. Because you said that you also wanted to take up attitude as one of the areas of, mentoring. I think tremendously that's a topic which is already in the cards. I can see it for sure.
Yeah.
All
Thank
right,
you so much.
great. So, this is all fantastic. And of course, you have a very busy life, which I definitely am privy to. I just wanted to understand that how do you create these daily successes for yourself, like in your day to day life?
My daily success is created by only one thing that I do very, very meticulously. I plan my day in a very, very detailed way. So
Okay.
anybody who has interacted with me, and my husband is very in high appreciation of the same, actually, is that I'm a wonderful planner. So I plan every day very meticulously, the day or the weeks in advance. I believe strongly, of course, while I plan, that the planning does not lie in my hands, because we do not know what is going to happen the next minute, and we do not know what is going to happen the next day. It's in the hands of the Lord. So having reconciled to that fact as well, I believe I will have to plan every day, every minute very, very meticulously. So even if it's a small job on the home front, or even if it's a big job on the personal front, or if it's a great job on the professional front, academic front, even if it's an interaction with somebody that I have to go to, or even if it's a small party that I have to hold in my house, or even if it's a festival that I have to do, I have a very, very detailed way of planning it way in advance. I never procrastinate. So I never leave things for the last minute. So I am well organized, very, very meticulous and structured. And as I said, I always remember that Murphy's Law will prevail. So things are going to go wrong when they are not expected to go wrong. So I always have a plan A, a plan B, a plan C for major things that can go wrong for the day and for the week. So I think,
Just
yeah.
love it. A, B, C.
Yeah.
You,
So
you should
the other day,
actually, no, this is the wrong place for you. You should actually be in UN, or you should be in the World Health Organization, or, the last option is Kargil, because, any of these places needs people like you who can plan so meticulously.
oh my God, you know what? When I watched the movie The Surgical Strike, I sat up the full night and said, hey, oh my God, I've not done anything for my country. And I looked up at my husband and said, how would it be if I went to the war? Okay, and he's like, can you just spare me the horror of thinking about this?
That's the next
So
target.
yeah, I get these ideas, and yeah, actually, most of my students and my colleagues in corporate, and also my daughter for that matter. The other day, she called up, and I said she was talking about something, and I said, "Have you looked at this? Have you looked at this? Have you looked at that?" And she's like, "Mommy, chill. I've looked at all your plan A, plan B, plan C. Okay, I've done it all. So relax. I've learned." In fact, when she was a small kid, I think, I used to tell her that, okay, so she was always a very, 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 very hardworking, sincere, committed girl. So I used to tell her, end of the day, why don't you just jot down in your pad what are the value adding and non value adding activities you did for the day? So I put up a chart at the back of her door. I wonder if she remembers. But there was a chart at the back of her door. And I said, take your, she was very, very good in painting. So I said, okay, fine. So take your crayons and just write there, what is the biggest value add thing you did for today? What are those? And also jot down what are those non-value add activities you did. And you feel at the end of the day, I shouldn't have done that and spent so much time on these. So there were two columns on the chart paper at the back of her bedroom door, and she kept on, the poor girl, and I gave her colors also. I gave her red to write the good things and black to write the bad things. Okay, I mean, not bad things, in the sense things which she felt she would improve at. So she, poor soul, kept on writing that. So over a period of time, I told her that, Aishwarya, did you really understand why you're doing it? Has it been of some use? She said, yes, mommy, now I know these are the things which I've been wasting my time on, even behavioral things or other things, where I could have actually done a beautiful drawing at that point of time. So I think it works if you do not overdo it. And one of the biggest disadvantages with me as well, which I'm trying to correct, is I tend to overdo that also at times. So like I'm all planned for various things, and I'm like, oh my God, this is really stressing me out. Why can't I just let go? So I would like to tell people that don't overdo, what I have done sometimes, and then feel stressed out. Well, so much so, talking about transition, as we were doing so long, Shonali, it's like I have transitioned many times in my life on a professional and personal front as well, and taken a lot of risks to come out of certain things which I was doing always. So in the year 2006, I decided to, I was already the head for quality and divisional operations in Wipro at that point of time, heading for another promotion coming up soon, and doing very well. And I decided to take a sabbatical. I decided to go to UK, to Manchester, to do my second masters. And at that point of time, many people did tell me, "You're an established person. You are doing well settled personally. You have very very accomplished professional career, doing excellently in corporate. What is the need now at this point of time to suddenly go for studies at that too at this age?" With a daughter who is growing up and just finally just disappearing for a year and a half. And then my family supported me tremendously, and I really went ahead and went off to UK for a year and a half to do my second masters. So I did my MS in business performance in from Manchester in UK. And at that point of time, it was like leaving a full-fledged job, a full-fledged career, and suddenly going ahead and doing another academic pursuit. So that was my intent, and that was my passion for pursuit for knowledge. I topped the university in UK at that on that year, and I was awarded the International Quality Award from the Chartered Quality Institute that year, and being the only Indian to get that award at that point of time, it was really a proud moment for me to wear the graduation gown once again and go on stage, and felt good for topping the university at that age. It was a course for professionals, and it was wonderful. I did a lot of teaching in Manchester also, and I was also working as a faculty part time there for a certain period of time. Also taught in IIMM and IIM at some points of time. So when I became a professor for MBA students at Christ University, it was another great experience for me. And I did, and I until now as a professor at Christ University for MBA students, I tell my students to also take these risks, to walk into those areas of discomfort and rediscover things which we wanted to do but we thought we couldn't. So it was all about, I also tell them about empowerment. So it is no, everybody knows how to do things their way and do things by themselves. So life is all about empowerment and being able to control after you empower your staff and your people properly. So if you become redundant as a leader, and if your staff and your subordinates are able to do their job successfully and very well, then you have been able to impart the knowledge successfully. So you are a great leader if you do not cling on to your job and your role and your position, but you empower your people and train them to do so wonderfully. So there is some amount of yardstick setting that one needs to do, and we need to set our yardsticks on our own way. So, absolutely great that we've been talking about transition, and thank you very much for bringing this topic of transition very well. And that's really, really the highlight of our discussion here today.
So, Apri, you spoke about the traits, behaviors, all fantastic. I'm really curious to understand that, have you ever had any kind of failures at all in your life?
Yeah, actually, as I said, I'm a very sensitive and emotional person. And because of my sensitive and emotional nature, there have been various times of life, as I was just telling you, during my several, experiences with several life crisis situations. I have felt that I haven't been performing, or I haven't been able to gear up to the situation very well. So, being a very sensitive and emotional person, I tend to give in to whenever there is an emotional turbulence that tends to overpower me and takes away and wipes away my Excel sheet thoroughly. So those are the situations where I actually fail, because that's where I realize that all the Excel sheets one side, and the other turbulence comes on the other side. Which is how I have slowly tried to overcome those emotional sensitivity issues and be stronger over the day, to realize that these things will come and go, but I need to imbibe that resilience or that agility within me to stand there and face those situations. As I said, there have been points of time in my life where I've stopped back and said that why am I suddenly feeling so alone with my family, where there were everything seemed to have been set, but come one situation of, as I said, there was an issue where my husband was hospitalized, and I was under tremendous crisis, because he's the pillar of strength in my life.
Right.
The moment he was struck with dengue and hospitalized, my whole world came crumbling down. And it was a very fatal incident, because we almost lost him. And I really don't think that, I really geared up to that situation very well. All the Excel sheets got wiped up within minutes and seconds. And I was there, threadbare, naked, facing the realities of life. So those were my failure moments where I realized that, as I'm just trying to profess and tell you, that all these should come with a balance, which is why I'm saying that I want to get into understanding behavioral skills. I want to understand the psychological things that go behind a human mind when we succeed or we fail at various levels in the organization or in personal life. So that I is definitely my another research area which I'm looking for after the PhD. So I think that is something which is really, and of course, as I have already told you, it did not pull me down so much that I was not able to transform myself. So once the I realized that there is going to be high tide and low tide, and we have to build ourselves to be able to gear up to the situation. I really don't know how well I have built myself up, because it's only when the next crisis, God forbid, if it appears, I shall know how well those failures of not being able to cope up emotionally to those situations have built me up right now.
Yeah, so those are the turbulences which we all face in life. And, no matter how much you plan, when it suddenly strikes you, you definitely have to do what is the best in store for, everyone, right? So I think this is tremendous stories of your life that you shared with us today. And, a lot of learnings and a lot of new insights which we got. And of course, our audience would be thrilled to take away some of these key kind of nuggets which they can implement in their life, especially the planning ABC. And of course, having your, Excel sheets, because no matter
And don't
what,
forget the
Papri,
Newton's laws.
and the Newton's laws, of course. So what is really important is that, like the balance, like you spoke about, the planning is important on one side, and being emotionally resilient is the other side of the coin. So both need to go hand in hand. And as a human being, we are in this journey of constant learning. So like that's our journey, and of course, we all need to kind of traverse it. So, as we kind of come to the close of today's discussion, we can definitely go on and on with the wonderful things that you have in store for us. And of course, we want to keep asking a lot of things to you. However, due to paucity of time, what is it in terms of success mantra or life mantra that you would like to share with our audience today, Papri?
Okay, so I think my success mantra, as I said, is all about karma. As I said, sincere, committed, and positive karma. So I would like to leave the audience with the thought that karma is the only thing. It's not that Lord Krishna said it alone, but if your karma is right, then somewhere or the other, success will definitely come back to you. Also, it is very important to understand that whatever, again, Newton's law, so whatever goes up has to come down. Okay, so again, that we need to realize that we can't blow up or boast about things too much. Our ego needs to be humbled. So we cannot keep going up on certain things. We need to realize that there is a force, a gravitational force that will anyway bring it down. I think that understanding is very important. Above all, I think we should realize that with whatever success we have, success is imbalance without humility. So we need to have a lot of humility. And only if there is, if you're a learned person, if you're very educated, the only way you can show that is by being more humble by the day, and by expressing your humility in terms of all the aspects of your life in totality. So otherwise, you would still remain a very, very dissatisfied person for yourself as well as for the people you interact with. And
Wonderful.
as I said earlier,
Mhm.
there is a small stand that one of my subordinates, way back in Philips, it was there on his table in the I was in the planning and logistics those days, and he gifted me that, to me. He was reporting to me. It says, and it still stands on my table today after 30 years, after close to, yeah, it's been close to 30 years. He had given it to me sometime long back. It says, winning isn't everything, wanting to win is. So I believe that we should all want to win. And if we want to win, then we can overcome all the hurdles and obstacles that will come in the path. So that is very important. And keep the passion going. If you have the drive, if you have the passion, then you will be able to succeed. If you read the journey of any of these successful people, they are all they are all embedded with instances of failure where they have never given up. So we could just be another person down the road. We could just be taking life very easy. So you need to decide whether you want to take life the easy path of life, the path of least resistance, or you want to take a life that is full of a lot of challenges, a lot of prospects where you didn't know things and you want to learn. So it is a personal choice. And I believe if we take the other path, which is full of challenges, as I said, at 55, which is my target now, 5 years now. So look
Right.
back and say, have a little bit of content, feeling of contentment, saying, I tried. I
Mhm.
think the fact to say that I tried is very important. Like I put up in my DP, when you do boxing, the game of boxing, it is not about the fact, the success does not lie, or the failure is not when you fell down. So, in
Right.
boxing is a wonderful game.
Mhm.
You do not lose the game if you fall down. You
Mhm.
lose the game if you do not get up.
True. True.
So, it's all about getting up.
Wonderful. Wonderful. It's all about getting up and doing the right karma and, maintaining your humility and being humble no matter where you rise and where you reach in life. I think these are very, very important values to hold in terms of having a smooth journey of life, because no matter what takes you up, if you've really not got up and kind of taken huge lot of pride in it and just said, yeah, it's a way of life, I'm just doing my best every single day, right? And getting up and showing up, right? So wonderful, Papri. Thank you so much for making time for this, because this is going to be very, very helpful to a lot of people, not only the professionals, but especially the students who are aspiring, and who think that, like, okay, once I get a job, life is done. It's life begins after that, right? Because when we
Yes,
were in
actually, life
school,
begins just after that.
yeah.
I just told a couple of my students who got placed last week. They were rejoicing and celebrating, and I said, "Yes, great!" And they were all planning parties for me. And I said, "Wonderful! Please, please enjoy." I mean, we would meet up after the pandemic, but yes, do. But
Right.
remember that your journey has just started.
That's
This is just the first step.
true, true. Wonderful. So, all the best with the great things that you have in mind to accomplish next. And of course, we know that you are going to get there. And
Thank you
we'll
so much.
definitely connect on the various plans that we made during our
Sure.
conversation. Yeah.
Yeah,
All the
it's
very
been really exciting. I think, Sonali, first meeting you, and knowing the all the talents that you have. I'm all in awe of the same,
oh, that's
and
very kind.
it's been wonderful knowing you. And I'm surprised why I didn't get to know you earlier. And it's such a lot of positivity that you radiate every time you talk, every time you pick up that phone call and talk to me, or that those rare visits. But yes, I'm really looking forward to more association with you.
Absolutely.
And
Fantastic.
I'm really thankful to you for conducting this success mantra session with me. And I really like the wonderful work that you're doing for the next generation.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Papri, for those kind words that you spoke for me. It's always inspiring to see you. So we can kind of, definitely, when I've been, your art, your passion for things is just fantastic. And that was one of the reasons why I felt that our audience really deserves you. So
Thank
I'm
you so
glad
much.
that you made
This has
time.
been a very wonderful experience for me.
Fantastic.
And thank you very much, Sonali, for giving me this opportunity.
Fantastic. Thank you. And
Thank you. Thank you.